Football Show with Burger King. Watch live at 5 p.m. weekdays on YouTube. Join the conversation on 0808 17 17 700. Talking Scottish football first.
Good evening. 6 days to go in the window here in Scotland. Rangers have bid €3 million, around £2.5 million, for the person we mentioned last night. He's playing in the third tier. It's Hansa Rostock. Ryan Naderi is the player. German third division side. €3 million in today, apparently. And Celtic poised to launch a late bid for the Bodo Glimt striker Kasper Høgh. 0808 17 17 700. No major signings today so far. The Celtic fans still waiting to see who is going to join. There's been 2 so far in the window, and Rangers have had 4, with more to come, surely, for both of them. Darren Adi is here, and so too is James McPake. You're both back after that performance, the two of you, last week together. And Darren, we saw you in a big match at the weekend on Sky, and it was the major talking point about should it have been a red card or not. Where do you stand?
Yeah, I think you have time to reflect on it. And I think I listened last night to Mark Guidi, and I think he summarised it the way I see it. I just don't see how you can overturn it. I seen it at the time, and you can see if you're from a Celtic perspective, the ball is moving away from goal. Dane Murray is kind of in line with Austin Trusty, so you could say he's a recovering defender. And then likewise on the other side of it, he's been taken down. They're kind of in the middle of the goal when he is taken down. So it's subjective. Yeah. So probably, I think now the actual decision, I don't want to say is irrelevant. I'll be on the fence with the decision. It's the overturning it, I think, is the wrong decision.
Right. Yep. James, what do you feel? We haven't seen or heard from you since then. What did you reckon? You played the game as well at a really high level. Was the referee right or wrong?
Watching the game live initially, and we all do that, you make judgment on it when you're watching the game, and right away I thought it's a red card.
Did you?
When you see it, and then Stephen McLean gives a yellow card and you see the replays back, I can see why Stephen McLean done that. I agree with Darren, with Mark last night. The disappointing thing for me, we're always having a go at VAR, and we do it a lot, and I think we've got right to do it, but the disappointing thing for me, I'd have liked to have seen Stephen McLean being stronger, sticking by his decision, just for the fact I think he's got a good view. He's made the call, he's explained it, but ultimately I think if the red card was given right away, I wouldn't have thought it was the wrong decision either. So, but I feel for Stephen McLean a little bit. He's a good referee. He's been asked to come over to the monitor. Obviously he's felt it's a yellow with the way he's done it. So, and then they bring him over, and now all the noise surrounding it is. He's getting a lot of stick, VAR's getting a lot of stick. But look, he would have got that if he wouldn't have overturned it either. And it's just this title race now. Every decision's going to be like that.
Celtic are appealing it. Darren, do you think they'll win?
No, I don't. No. Because, ironically, because it's such a subjective decision, I don't see how you can overturn it. And I agree with James bringing Stephen McLean over. I'd like to know what Steve McLean has been told to look at that was different to what he interpreted at the time, because I think he read the situation really well. I think he gave his decision of being a yellow card, and I can understand that decision. Likewise, if he had have pulled the red card straight away, I could see why he would have pulled the red card. So I just find it difficult to understand why he was sent to the monitor.
We hear from Derek McInnes. We played it last night. We're going to play it again shortly, and his reaction to it. This was Martin O'Neill at full time.
Yeah, I do have an argument with the red card. The referee's given a yellow card. We sent over to, obviously, VAR re-refereeing the game, and it's no more a red card than I just mentioned earlier in an interview, and a blue card, which don't exist, I don't think. But it's not. I thought my take on it is that, first of all, the ball's going away from goal, so the player has to get hold of that and control it. And secondly, and more importantly, is that we've got someone in the cover. So that's what the referee saw, excuse me, in the first place. He was pretty close to it, and it's not. So it puts you under severe pressure in the last 20-odd minutes.
As you would expect, Derek McInnes saw it rather differently.
I've not seen it again. I thought my take on it is, and I think what the fourth official said to me, that they needed to be sure that Kabori would get a shot away. And my thought was, he's definitely going to get a shot away. He broke the line, and it's I think it's Celtic don't get red cards there domestically, so it was a bit of a shock even when VAR turned it and made it a red. But for me, it looked a red card offence.
I think Derek will hear more about that probably from the authorities. I was surprised that he said it. Maybe it's the heat of battle. But you're not surprised that the managers get very different views. That's the thing about football. And if there are any neutrals around, this is some title race, isn't it? Hearts on 51 points after 23 games. It's amazing. Rangers go into second spot, 47 after the 23 games. And Celtic on 45. James, can you remember a title race like it? Are you enjoying it?
No, I'm loving it. It's and this is going to keep coming up because as we keep saying now, the three of them are here to stay. That they're going to battle it out for the next 15 games, and for me, it's going to come down to who can beat who in those big games and then maintain their form. But I can't remember a title race like it. I can remember exciting ones with Celtic and Rangers, but having another club, having a third team in there that are challenging and leading it at the minute as well it's exciting. It's great for Scottish football.
What did you think about the comments there from Derek McInnes?
Yeah, I think when Derek hears it back, he won't be pleased that he said it. But again, I think we get too upset about certain things, don't we? But Derek will not be over the moon that he's come out and said it. But again, I just think it's something you just kind of accept that there's a lot of pressure on them. Would I say that if Hearts were just having a normal season by their expectations? I'm not so sure. Maybe because he's desperate to win games. But look, again, we jump on everything, and it's.
Mind you, what are they saying about referees? Chris Boyd, he's a commentator now, a pundit, he's entitled to say it, but he's been making that point for a while about Celtic. He said it again on the programme you were on, Darren. But he's entitled, it's a free country. What did you feel about Derek McInnes saying that?
Yeah, it's not a good comment to make because you're insinuating something. I think we can all probably read into what he's insinuating. And I don't think Derek McInnes needs that in his life. He's done a fantastic job at Hearts. Clearly a very experienced manager. And actually, I mentioned at the weekend, previously when Celtic had lost at Tynecastle the previous game, I thought the way they handled the win was excellent. And Derek McInnes kind of kept Hearts and his team really level-headed. And you can see they're there for the long haul now. So I don't see the need for it. And I'd imagine you'll be hearing from the SFA about it.
Meanwhile, Celtic fans want to see more signings if they're to retain the title, because Rangers are in their second top and Hearts so far not going away. What do you think, Celtic fans? 08, 08, 17, 17, 700. The news that we heard today that there could be a bid in for the Bodo Glimt striker Kasper Høgh. You were watching him. He scored at the weekend, you were saying.
He scored a double against Man City
last
midweek.
Yeah, he did.
Yeah, so... Listen, Bodo Glimt are a seriously well-run club. I don't think he would be cheap, but if he's playing at that level, clearly Champions League, scoring goals, absolutely you would take him in a heartbeat. I think it would be an expensive one. But I mean, if Celtic could get their hands on a level of that striker, I'm sure it'll be of interest to them. Yeah, and for Rangers, there's news. Monaco want to get JD Gassama on loan with an obligation to buy. James, why would they let him go, do you think? Unless it was a deal that they couldn't knock back. But I think from a Rangers point of view, they would be mad. Just the position they're in, he scores important goals, he can do things, he can light a game up at times. Yeah, there's frustrations with him, and we get that. But for me, that would be a crazy bit of business for Rangers, unless it was something that an out of this world deal that Monaco come in with. But for me, I think for Rangers, for Danny Röhl, they'll be wanting to keep a hold of Gassama. Darren, he did. Gassama scored the weekend, wasn't it? The right footer. That's right. Yeah. You surely don't let go players that are kind of that level of form. And the Rangers fans love him. Yeah. They enjoy. He's exciting. He's somebody you'd pay to watch. No, he is, and I think that's why they have to keep a hold of him. When things are tight, when there's a real pressure on games as well, he can do something that a lot of players in the league can't do. He can create, he can score a goal. So no, look, I think for Rangers, they'll be desperate to keep a hold of him. Peter's on from Bothwell Street, a huge Rangers fan. He said, look, you'll not get too many of us saying too much, quietly going about our business. Well done, Danny Röhl. 8 games on the trot. 3 games that are off tonight in the KDM Trophy because of this, it's not a hurricane, but the storm that is raging in some parts of the country. Arbroath against Airdrie. Well, no surprise there if you watched the game on Friday night. Almost every ball. I've had some bad experiences up there, Paul, playing up there when I was at Dundee, it would have been, and right. It was freezing.
So I'm no surprised that one's off tonight. It's probably a good call, even if the pitch could be perfect and even if the wind isn't bad just now, by kick-off, like, they just turn that on up there, the wind, and it's mayhem.
United's trip to St Johnstone is off because of a waterlogged pitch, and Stranraer against Clyde off because, again, of the weather. It's pretty horrendous in some parts of the country. We mentioned Rangers then quietly moving up the table, second top. This was Danny Röhl after the 3-0 win against your old team, Dundee.
Yeah, I think at first happy 3-0. We know before the game it's not an easy one. Everyone expected to win us. Then you face your opponent, they had a small run. They're good organized, you have to break them as first down. I think first half we tried. In some moments we had too many players behind the ball instead of in the right areas. This was a topic in the halftime. Then you come fantastic out, make the goal. Then you have 2-3 good moments where you can score the 2-3-0, and then it's the game. We had then some transition moments where we were not clinical. We lose the ball, was a little bit too open, but finally then the 3-0 is for me as well a statement. All in all, I'm happy when you look how many chances they had. Really, they had what I saw so far nothing. I think it shows as well how we were organized against the ball. But for me, it's a big respect for my group. What they do at the moment is outstanding.
James, what do you make of them? Again, Rangers saying themselves, it's not the best performance, but 3-0 win.
Yeah, it wasn't too comfortable at 90 minutes. It was 1-0, but look, they're motoring along. I've been really impressed with Danny Röhl since he came in from his very first presser, where he just came across level-headed. He got it, it seemed. I know it's easy to say when they've won games or 8 games in a row and they're flying in the league. But I just think he came in, he steadied it. We're always taught about Martin steadying it at Celtic, but I think he came in and done that with a squad very low in confidence. I've been really impressed with him. And you look at their goals and it's interesting when you read it. They've not, obviously Hearts and Celtic have both scored more goals than Rangers, but they're finding ways to win games even when they're not playing great. I think he's been excellent. He's got them the structures really well in his teams, and obviously on Sunday there as well, he gets a couple of new signings minutes on the pitch as well, so they're going to get better. I think they will go into the transfer market again, and Celtic and Hearts need to be very wary, in my opinion, of this Rangers team.
Darren, what do you make of Rangers at the moment? And as a defender, they were really criticised a lot, and you can understand why early in the season, but another clean sheet. Yeah,
and I think that's what Danny Röhl's clearly built the team around. They keep clean sheets. They're difficult to play against. I've seen a number of their games. You wouldn't call them free-flowing. They're not kind of the best Rangers team I've ever seen. But yeah, they're difficult to beat, and they're picking up wins, not results, wins. So he's done a great job. Obviously, I think the timing of him coming in probably was perfect in terms of coming off the back of Russell Martin, who obviously had a well kind of documented style of play. He added the grit that you need to play up here, and I think he's clearly found the right formula.
What about the new players? A couple of them who came on and played actually at the weekend.
Yeah, I think general it's when you bring new players in, they have to adapt, they have to find the rhythm. It's normal. For me, it was clear to start with them and then to bring players on. They a little bit longer with me together because then they know what they have to do. It will come. This is a little bit from the beginning. Yeah, when I take over, you need some couple of games to find the rhythm. But I'm happy that they could be on the pitch. I think Scoff was involved in the 1-0 with the pass outside. Touchy comes better and better with every minute to find the spaces, be connected with Nico. That takes time, but it gives us also the opportunities to bring strong players on. I think this is also crucial now in this time of the year, that you can sub and you will be better instead of you lose quality.
Yeah, some quality they've brought in, and they'll bring in more, 1 or 2 maybe, before the end of the window. Barry is on, a Celtic fan, saying, guys, how many players do you think Celtic will bring in? How many do you think they need to bring in, Darren? I heard you on Sunday. Is it?
I'll answer probably what I think they will. I think two minimum.
Just 2 more.
2 minimum.
Right, okay. And where do they have to strengthen?
I said it at the weekend. I'm sure if you got a Celtic fan on here, they'll have multiple different positions. I just think they need goals in the team. That's not to say they couldn't strengthen in other areas of the team. I just think what is the difference, the main difference between Celtic this season compared to last, and they're not free scoring. And it's more when you're watching them, you don't feel like they're going to score many goals. Now, Martin O'Neill, in both spells, I think he's now had 10 domestic games, 7 clean sheets. You could, similar to Danny Röhl in terms of he's built the team off a really solid base. If you're wanting to be a kind of a proper Celtic team, you need goals in your team, and I think that's what they lack.
James, what do you reckon? You don't normally see Celtic after 23 games with just 41 goals.
No, I agree with Darren there. They need a lot more goals in their team, a lot more creativity. I also think that they badly need a centre-back. That again, in my opinion, the goals, not just the goals, but when you're watching Hearts putting balls into that box, whether it's from corners, wide free kicks, whatever. And look, it's only going to intensify over the course of the next 15 games when they're playing these games. Set plays are huge. I don't think they're good at defending them. It doesn't always have to be centre-backs, but I don't think there's enough aggression and people willing to go and header the ball. Now, he played for the club, he was great at doing it, but when you look at that, and going back to when I used to go to Celtic Park, or when they would come to you, and you needed them to have an off day, but the other thing you had to make sure you were doing was defending your box well, because crosses were coming into your box and they always seemed bigger, they were always stronger, whatever it was at the time. But I just look at the Celtic team now, and either playing against them or managing against them, I wouldn't be too concerned about their physicality, and I'd be really thinking we could hurt them if we had corners and free kicks. Now, again, and normally when they're that good, it was a problem getting a corner or a free kick. But they're giving them away well at the minute. Teams can get at them, and when you look at that top six as well, Motherwell will go and create chances. Hibs will create chances on their day, and Falkirk will certainly create chances against all three teams. So I think, for me, they need a centre-back as well.
You just mentioned Motherwell there, and on the line, a huge Motherwell fan. He's dialed 08 08 17 17 700. Hi, Hugh. Good evening.
Good evening, Paul. And
Darren and James with us tonight.
I'm thinking of James first, because I'm thinking it's actually quite interesting what you were talking about there. I hope you're all right, guys. The reason why I made the phone call is because of you two were defenders, okay? And the situation was the treatment, I believe, Celtic is...
we're losing you there. Hugh, it's a really poor line. Yep. Okay, say that again then. We lost you at Celtic. Got poor treatment, did you say?
Yeah, but poor treatment of obviously Welsh. How they've treated him. Right. They brought him back from... His spell at Mull was phenomenal. Mm-hmm. It was our best defender by a country mile. He was so calm, so assured. He's went back to Celtic, and I believe they've treated him unfairly. They played him in the cup game. So he does come back to Firth Park. He's then cup tied. Yeah. They then bring him off to put skills back in the park. In a game, they had nothing against him. They were cruising the game. Then they go and play at the weekend there, and he's not even on the bench again. And I just feel he's been unfairly treated. Now, I'm only phoning up, obviously, because you've got the two guys in tonight. The two of them are defenders. So it's just the treatment. You're talking about Celtic's defensive frailties there. They've got a cracking defender not even sitting on the bench, at the side. Now, I know, I was speaking to some of the guys in the backroom team at Firth Park at the weekend there, and apparently Welsh is very unhappy where he is at the minute. He doesn't want to be there.
All right. Darren, what would you say?
I think I can absolutely understand. First of all, your point, Hugh, is very, very valid. Celtic have clearly been lacking in that department. I think it's been well documented they might bring in a centre-back, so you might see later in the window, Hugh, that he might become available. Now, whether Motherwell have the time to wait for that, I don't know. I hope they do, because ultimately, if he is allowed eventually in the window go in this next week, he can only go to Motherwell, because he's obviously played now for Celtic and Motherwell, so he couldn't go to a third different team. Listen, it's tough for me. These guys are academy boys. Obviously, I'm going to look out for them, and I want the best for them. I think the move he had to Belgium, which I was part of last year, went really well. He's gone to Motherwell and done brilliantly well, as have Motherwell. So he's fit into a brilliant team under a manager that plays to his kind of style. And I suppose I'd make the statement that I really hope I'm not watching Stephen Welsh's career over the next kind of 4 months stagnate. But there's still six days left in the window. Things could move, and I would like to think there's still a chance that he ends up back at Motherwell.
James, you can understand why Hugh and other Motherwell fans feel the same. You know, look at how they're doing in the league and the cup. They would love it. They could go all the way to a final, but they'd have to do it without Stephen Welsh.
Yeah, and I think it's a great point. It's a great call. I think Darren's completely spot on about it as well. It's disappointing for the player. If you take it from the player's perspective, he's playing every week. He's enjoying his football in a really successful Motherwell team. And then he goes back. But I can also understand it from Celtic's point of view where they're going in, they're in a title race, they are short on centre-backs. And the argument for that will say, well, he's not playing. I get that, but you've also got to run training sessions. And I'm not saying you bring players like Stephen Welsh back just to train, but you've got to be really clever with how you handle your squad. And I think I see why Celtic have done it. I can see why Martin O'Neill and the staff in there have brought him back. What I will say is I think it might help the fact that he played the Auchinleck-Talbot game, because there would have been other teams interested in him. Now he can't go anywhere other than Motherwell if he's going to play. So he's either going to play for Celtic or be involved at Celtic or go back to Motherwell in this window. And could it have been a plan for Celtic to bring him back to use him as part of a deal for Maswanhise? I don't know, but it's disappointing for the player because he's enjoying his football, but I can also see why Celtic have done it.
And Hugh, what a result on Saturday. Phenomenal. 4-0 against Killie. You're fourth top of the table.
Yes, absolutely brilliant. I mean, again, Paul, I've said on here numerous times, we will hammer a team. That could have been 6, 7, 8 at the weekend there. Some of the football we're playing was just, there was one move, I think it was 27 passes, we went back and counted it all, and you think, and we got a shot on target, and you think, if that gets in, that's goal of the season. Just, our movement is phenomenal, especially for Elijah Jusko. Yeah. The movement, is just how he pulls off the player and runs in and shoots and scores. It's fantastic to sit and watch. And I've been on here numerous times praising the team, praise the manager, praise the players. We can't praise them enough. And no matter who comes into our team, starting like, as I say, Watt's out injured and Watt's phenomenal in the middle of the park for us because everything went through him. But young Oscar Priestman's come in and you don't really see him. You see a little bit different, of course, how Watt's got a better stature. But Priestman, again, at the weekend, just knocking the ball about, demanding the ball. And again, some of the young boys come on at the end. And even they didn't look out of place as well. They were demanding the ball as well.
Hugh, do you go to the games at Fir Park? Are you at the game
every
week?
Everything.
He's still at the ground. He doesn't leave. He's still there.
Well, I was there a couple of weeks ago, the Ross County game, and the thing that stood out to me most, besides the football that's been played, was the temperament of the crowd. You don't see that a lot right across British football, where I felt players were taking their time with the ball. There was patience. They were passing backwards at times, but there was a real calmness in the crowd that they obviously accept this style of football that the manager's brought in. And now that he has results, I obviously understand. But early in his reign, were you at all sceptical, or have you always kind of seen what he was trying to do?
Well, Darren Paul have obviously backed up.
He's loved him from the beginning. Yeah,
right, okay.
Hugh, you came on right at the start. Yeah, he does. I'll bring him up to the break. Yeah, listen, during the break, I'll bring Darren up to date because he was down, obviously, in Swansea for a while. But Hugh, you've been on from right at the beginning when people say it's a really high line. Good to watch, but wait to see. My goodness, it's phenomenal. Great call. Thanks so much, Hugh. We're back after this.
Thank you. Thank you.
The Go Radio Football Show with Burger King.
Not an obvious goal-scoring opportunity. What does that mean? What's the obvious goal-scoring opportunity? Mark's on a Celtic fan saying it's totally subjective, and why didn't the referee stick with his decision? He agrees with what you guys have been saying, and Mark said it last night. Look, if he thought it was a yellow card, stick to that. What did he see in the VAR that he didn't see live? Now, maybe there is something and that will come out. Rangers fans, they're sitting fairly quietly at the moment. Derek was on, a passionate Rangers fan last night, and he had a comment or two about it, but he is pleased the way things are going for Rangers. Darren, what are you feeling about that there? An obvious goal-scoring opportunity. It's not really in the rule book, the law book. It's subjective.
Yeah, I'm kind of gone past the obvious goal-scoring opportunity. I think the more pertinent point is it's not been an obvious refereeing decision to overturn it. I think we could speak about it, and you're clearly getting a real range of opinion, which is normal when it's subjective, and you're getting even a range within referees. So therefore, whatever the on-field decision is, they had to have stuck with it. And I'm okay. People naturally think you're from a Celtic continued. I'd happily say that if it had been given a red card on field, I would still be saying thing. I don't think there's enough evidence to say that's a wrong decision. You have to overturn it. So the issue I hold with it is that they overturned the decision. And as you said, I don't know what Stephen McLean has seen. Obviously, we'd like to hear that. But what has he seen and John Beaton shown him on the system that has changed his mind essentially?
Yeah, that's right. And here we are now, we're a couple of days after it, which is fine.
48 hours, it seems like a week.
I know, but we're still all talking. There's debate everywhere from Celtic fans, Rangers fans, Hearts fans. Every fan in the country, it's getting spoke about on TalkSport, on other shows. And ultimately, we're sitting here talking about VAR getting it wrong. And I get that the referees had to make the call, but we were 5-6 years ago, before VAR came in, we were having a go at referees making bad calls. It's going to happen in the game, but now we've got this system in place and it's still no clearer, it's still no better, that 2 days down the line nobody can agree what's right, what's wrong. You've got people saying it was a red, it should have been a yellow. I think it was a great chance for Stephen McLean to, like I said earlier, Paul, just to go over the top and say no, I'm sticking with my decision.
But sometimes there's a tackle in a game, the referee books it, and then you go, and in VAR they're seeing the tackle was maybe higher on the leg or something that I just don't see what he is seeing going over to the monitor that would make him change his mind. And let's be clear, that's what it should be. It should be Stephen McLean going over to be given more evidence. And then he still should be the guy making the decision. You get a feeling with VAR that once they go to the monitor, no matter what, they're going to change. Yeah, that's kind of the issue with it.
Peter Grant made a point last night that the Man City game, the new young referee, he went along and he wasn't influenced by the crowd. He said, "No, I'm going to stick by my own decision."
That was his debut.
Yeah.
Yes, that's right.
Premier League debut, brilliant.
Straight out the wrapper.
Yeah, and again, he stuck by the decision. He's getting a lot of praise. I'm sure he'll be getting a lot of criticism as well. And likewise, had Stephen McLean stuck by his decision, we would still be sitting here tonight talking about it. But I think there'd be a lot more people saying, "Well done to the referee," because he's went over the top of VAR. He's no kind of followed the trend where as soon as you get sent to the monitor, you've got to either change your decision or do something. Where he's seen it. He made the call, and I agree with Darren. Had he given a red card, I would have agreed with that as well. You've seen what the referee's seen. He gave his explanation. I think Peter explained it really well last night. He's shown the Hearts players that the ball's going away for a goal, and then he get brought over to the monitor. And it will be good if the audio comes out and we get to hear it, because I think it's things like this we need to hear, because it stops all this. I don't know. It's just frustrating for me.
I think Peter's comments last night have garnered 250,000 hits. So Peter's on a bonus, Darren.
Yeah, he should be. Yeah.
Come out and say something tonight, then that we'll get.
No, I'll leave it to Peter. I'll leave it to Peter.
Back to him.
No, we've been told to behave tonight.
No, listen. We call it honestly here. Mark was also saying, he said it goes this way. The Celtic fans think it was a yellow card, and he should have stuck with it. The Hearts fans, the Rangers fans, and they feel it. And yet for Rangers, that was the perfect result, wasn't it? The draw was perfect for Rangers, given the way that Rangers are just moving up the table. I'm going to go on the lines. On that, Paul, who was probably at the Rangers game at the weekend, is on the line. Hi, Paul. Good evening.
Hi, Paul. Hi. Thanks for allowing me.
Good to hear you.
Hi, Paul.
Yes.
Hi, Paul.
You hit the nail on the head there, Paul. We're just quietly going about our business, getting our job done in the market. Quite pleased with that. We're getting players out. Kieran Dowell, Ian Joe Rothwell could be next.
Yeah, I see quite a few clubs want Joe Rothwell. Yep.
And a £10 million supposed bid for Gassama. I mean,
yeah. What would you do on the Gassama one? Sorry, Monaco option to buy and 10 million. They're saying. One, do you believe that the figures? And two, would you?
My heart's saying one thing, but my head's saying, do you know what? £10 million bid. How many times have we criticised Rangers in the past? And fair enough, it's previous boards where we let the likes of Ryan Kent, Morelos, and all that go for nothing. You can't do that in business, Paul. Yeah. So if you're getting a bid for £10 million when you pick the guy up for buttons, it makes sense.
Sorry, Paul, it's James. Does it make sense even at this point in the season with the league so tight?
I know. I think we've got the 49ers financial backing can mean that we can hold off till summertime. So
I think they're going to say no to it. I don't think it's going to happen. I don't think so.
I'd suggest the 10 million price tag is, I can't imagine in a million years that's actually the price tag either. So I would more envisage you'd be a lot lower than that. So for someone in your squad that has just scored at the weekend, you wouldn't want to be losing a player like that.
Can I just tell you, the defender, the decision has come, Paul, on the Austin Trusty red card, and I would imagine that Celtic's appeal over the red card during it has been rejected. So I'll give you more in a second or two. That's just coming in. There's great controversy about it. Yep.
Can I ask something about Celtic here? I just want a plain answer from you guys in the studio. What do you think? Callum McGregor came out and did an interview with the media maybe the day before the Hearts game, quite a detailed interview about Nancy and everything else, right? But, and I'm actually right saying this, it was radio silence all the way through the Nancy regime, absolute radio silence. And it was funny, when Nancy arrived, there was no kind of board members sitting behind him like they did with other managers. Yeah. So it was quite a strange setup. Do you think, what I'm trying to say, do you think that's right? Do you think that was right from a Celtic captain to have radio silence all the way through, and then when the bullet struck and he's out the door, then to come out to a press conference? Because look, McInnes was out the cameras, Austin Trusty had to do camera duty. Is that fair, would you say?
Right, so you've shifted onto that. I was reading the stuff here. Just let me tell everyone, the SFA website says this. The claim dismissed. The red card for sending off offence, A4, this is the Austin Trusty, denying the opposing team or an opponent a goal or an obvious goal-scoring opportunity, as defined by Law 12, is reimposed with immediate effect. So, I'm just looking. It's thrown out, isn't it? Yeah, it is. It's dismissed at the top. I'll tell you, I don't know why they say it in this kind of archaic language, but the headline tells you claim dismissed. Paul, you ventured into Wilfred Nancy. I had switched off for a second. Is he back? Has something happened? Right, Paul, why are you worrying about that? Right, here's the thing. Were you saying about Callum McGregor? Yeah, sure. No, I get it. Sure.
Yeah. I criticise James Tavernier on your show, and I put my hands up. I criticise him all the time as a captain. But that guy has had to come through for how many managers?
No, I get the context. Sorry, I get it. Darren, what would you say?
Listen, Callum McGregor has, I'd say, over a decade been an ambassador for the club. When Scott Brown retired, he then became the kind of, certainly he's front and centre. He does all kind of more awkward interviews, if you would like, or the bigger ones. And yes, he clearly wasn't kind of present in those moments. Now, I just find it very, very difficult to think that Callum McGregor wasn't doing anything but caring and putting the club at first. I don't know why he wasn't out in front of the cameras, but I can assure you Callum McGregor hasn't hid from anything in his career. He's been right at the forefront of this. He's seen everything. I don't think anything really at Celtic and in Glasgow would spook him. But I do understand your question in saying where was he. I wouldn't think too much into it. He is literally the leader of that team. And I know you'll turn around and say, well, he should have been out speaking. There must have been a reason we clearly don't know.
Which I think probably is, Paul and James, that he didn't understand what was going on. They didn't have a clue. Wilfred Nancy should never have been thrown in the middle of a season and allowed to change the formation.
Well, I thought Callum's interview, and I know Callum very well, and he is as good a professional you ever meet, likewise a person. I thought his interview was very, very truthful, yes. which you don't usually see from footballers mid-season, and I think his interview gave away probably where he was. I think there clearly wasn't a connect between manager and players, and maybe that's the reason. I don't know if that's the reason, but maybe that's the reason Callum felt that he would only inflame anything if he did go out in front of the media.
James, how must he have felt winning so many trophies with Celtic? Right, nobody's bigger than the club, but the new manager came in and changed it. And remember in the second game, he's calling him over repeatedly, showing him that thing, the abacus thing he had moving. I mean, it was risible, bizarre.
Yeah. There's a reason probably he wasn't put up to do the press then, because every question would have been about that.
Sure.
Another reason, and look, it's another good call, but Paul's saying he's come on and had a go at James Tavernier about coming out. But I'm just. But what I will say is this is probably the first time Callum McGregor in his time as a captain has had to come out with a bit of negativity. Now, you could argue that he should have come out earlier, but since he's been the captain, since Scott Brown left, Celtic have won everything. They've been keeping doing it. I think James Tavernier has been very brave at times as well to come out and stand and take it, to stand in front and be the face of the club. But that's happened a lot in his career at Rangers, where this is the first time as the captain of Celtic where there's been a bit of negativity and some bad results going about. So it's probably the first time, and the first time he steps out, we're all going to notice it because it's the first time it's happened, as I says. But I think the Wilfred Nancy one, I think you're right, Paul. It was just too strange for anyone to come out and make any sense of it.
But Paul, you make a great point. The integrity there of James Tavernier, who never shirked it, nor does Callum McGregor. But during that absolute madness at Celtic for a month, what could he say? What could he honestly say? He couldn't come out and have a go at the manager, but he couldn't understand what was happening. See, on James Tavernier, you're right, you would say about him, but my goodness, his goal at the weekend, his 100th league goal, your manager praised him afterwards.
Yeah, Tev, I think, knows his role. I think this is important, that he helps the group. I think in the last 2 games he was not on the pitch. I think that's also important. I spoke with him. It's about lead the group, even you are not in a starting 11, then be always there. He's doing a fantastic job. He's a leader. He is a player from the club for a long time, and he will help us as well to growing. We have a young group, but he is with the experience. It's great, and if he takes the responsibility to score on the right moments, then it's great, and a lot of goals for defender. It's nice to see.
Paul, is he going to lead your team to the title and raise the League Championship trophy in May? What do you reckon?
I hope so, but you know what's unique about this season, Paul? Is it could be a fairy tale farewell to James Tavernier. I don't see him lasting. I think he's edging out, right?
But what about the bigger point? Do you think you're going to win it? I mean, you hope it. You go to the games, you pay your money.
I think.
Why not?
I think if we beat Motherwell away, if we beat Hibs away,
Sunday,
and I think we've got Hearts at home, and then Kilmarnock at home. If we come through those 4 games, Paul, I think we're in with a shout big time. I really do. Motherwell away, I mean,
it'll be some game, won't it? That'll be 4-4.
And Hearts at home.
It's some season, isn't it? Paul, thanks so much. Okay, Martin O'Neill as well. Yeah, he's there. But for a moment, I was looking at that verdict, and then I heard you talking about Wilfred Nancy. I thought, what's happened in the last 20 seconds? Okay, thanks, Paul. We're back in a moment.
The Go Radio Football Show with Burger King.
Yeah, they're tuning all over the globe. We've got Joe there in Tenerife, Ross listening in Los Angeles, the King in LA. And on the line now, as we gave you that news just beforehand, the Celtic's appeal of the Austin Trusty red card, yellow, became a red. It's dismissed. Stevie's on. Hi, Stevie. Good evening. Hi, Stevie. Yeah, we're good. You okay? What do you make of this decision?
Well, my Celtic head would say it was never a red card, but my coach's head would say, what was he doing? You know what I mean? So that's about as honest as what I could be. You know what I mean? But I just felt, obviously, I mean, it's great that, you know, the 3 teams have gone at it, Paul, and I mean, we've got a few days left in the transfer window. That we know, hopefully Martin gets a few bodies in. That we know that obviously we need them in. Not mean if Trusty's going to pick up. I mean, a couple of games banned, but I thought the Hearts Celtic game was just amazing. That we know everybody was like, this one's missing for Hearts, and I mean Benji's missing for Hearts and that. But I thought they had a right good go at Celtic, and Celtic handled it. I mean, no, they really handled it. I like this new boy. This new boy looks really good.
Listen, see on that, Stevie, given that I've got 3 coaches here, and I've never played the football professionally, okay? So what should he have done, Darren? You know, what should Trusty have done in the chase?
I'd need to see the full clip back to see what he should have done prior to it. But once a striker gets the wrong side of you, you have to make sure you don't make contact. You have to find a way to either stop your body or pull out of it. And Austin Trusty didn't quite do that. And ultimately, once you make contact, it's never going to not be a free kick then. So I think the first part of it is, how did he get goal side? Clearly, there's a correction to that. But it was the bit, once he's running across your line, you've two options. You either take him out, which he did, or you have to stop dead and trust your opposite defender to get in.
Yeah, the Hearts midfielder, or whoever it was that was on the ball, he's under no pressure at all. And look, to be fair, Austin Trusty is very quick, but Kabori's quick as well. Yeah. And I think we see it a lot with Austin Trusty, and look, it comes off for him, and when he gets it right, he looks a really good centre back, but he relies on his pace a lot. He just had to deepen off. Whether that it didn't have to be a lot, but he just has to defend the space. Something that we spoke about a lot. Like, and when we'd be moaning as we were getting older, we were getting told to step up.
I was moaning that when I was 21.
But the space is the problem in that situation, and that's the way it was. And by the time he got round, did the mistake that he made in the first half, all those wee things can impact that as well. That his decision making wasn't quite right there. But like you don't, in a game like that, you defend the space. Like, you're pretty comfortable. I know Hearts were really good, but Celtic are in the lead in the game, and just manage it as a centre back and defend properly, and that's what he failed to do.
Stevie, you said there, you were basically saying it was engrossing the game, and I thought it was as well. A lot of people say, not a lot of football, and Hearts didn't let Celtic play the way they would want to. Well, that's part of their game, isn't it? But I thought it was engrossing, Darren. I was watching it. It was one of those ones, I put the phone, put everything away, and just watched the game. I was listening for the Rangers game as well, and it was a good old-fashioned afternoon of football, because we've got a race on for this title. It's not boring.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. It's not boring. I think you could. Of course, you could say, was it the highest level of quality game? No, but was it enthralling? Did you want to take your eyes off it? There's drama. There's obviously a storyline to it. So no, as a spectacle, in terms of technically, it wasn't brilliant, but in terms of drama and a really exciting kind of time, especially for a neutral, albeit I don't know many neutrals, but anyway, wherever they are.
Did you get a good reception? Was the crowd hostile?
I don't think they see me. The last time I was there...
I meant the Sky Box.
Oh, the Sky Box.
I'm kidding.
The last time I was in Hearts playing, I was richer when I left the amount of coins they kept flung at you. Oh, yeah. No, it's a brilliant stadium to play at, really intense. But yeah, luckily I was inside the building rather than on the outside.
You mentioned Čvančara. You like him. So the manager assessed his first game?
Yeah, once he got used to the surrounds, a difficult game for him to come into. I thought his run for the goal was fantastic, absolutely fantastic. So he'll do fine for us during the course of time when he gets to know about all he's had is a couple of training sessions with his teammates. But he's got really good pace, did well, has good control, and I was really pleased with him. He was going to get, I think he was holding his hamstring. I was worried about that. And that's when they replaced him.
James, Celtic will be hoping he'll be okay. What did you make of Čvančara?
Yeah, look, I agree with Martin. It took him a wee while. I think it was pretty sloppy, taking the ball in. Simple things early in the game, but you seen it, and it's not what we're wanting to say about players that are coming in to try and better our game, but he was giving the ball away, but his reaction was always there to go and try and get it back, and that's where his pace jumped out. Obviously for the run, for the goal, I think it's an excellent bit of play from him. It's a very good goal from Celtic. I think he'll be good. I liked him. Again, Darren will have a different opinion. He's seen the game live, but on the TV, I thought he looked good at certain things. But look, the taking the ball in and that sharpness will come with game time, so I'm not going to be too critical of that.
Yeah, I actually, my still question mark around him is he that type of number 9? I don't think he likes to play with his back to play, with his back to goal. And I think that reflected into his game. He wasn't particularly tidy when the ball went up to him, albeit he did have good moments. I thought the goal, clearly, he was a massive part of that. That was actually Celtic's best passage of play throughout the game. And he clearly showed kind of all his power and strength and speed. But I think he's at his best when he's facing forward. But as a number 9, invariably you come with your back to goal, and I don't know how much that suits him. So,
and I think Martin O'Neill said that, didn't he, just before he played him? Stevie, what do you feel about the news that Kasper Høgh could be on his way, the Bodo Glimt striker who scored the 2 goals against Man City? Could be a late big bid for him?
Again, I watched the Bodo Glimt game. He was really, really good. But just picking Darren up and what he was saying there, obviously you're saying about like, what do you do with the guy? I mean, obviously, so I'll ask James and Darren this. So if Trusty doesn't touch him and he goes through and Michael saves it, does he still get booked or does he still get sent off?
If there's no contact?
No, again, if he stayed in his feet, James.
If the same kind of contact was made between Trusty and the player and he didn't go down, no, I think you'd find the referee would then say he'd played advantage and allowed him to go through and had a shot and goal. So I don't think he would have come back and done anything with Austin Trusty at that stage.
Yeah, they couldn't have found anything in that, could they?
If he stays in his feet.
Yeah, you do get at times that if the referee does believe there's a foul involved in it, Stevie, and he goes through, I think he could have come back and yellow carded him if he gets his shot away, if he goes through. But no, again, that's a good question. I think that's the only thing I've kind of seen in football in those situations is at times the referee will go back. You see it when somebody pulls someone and they get away and they play on, the referee can go back and book him. And if that had happened on Sunday, then I'd expect that's what Stephen McLean would have done.
Stevie, you're a student of the game you coach. Who is going to win the league? Who do you think?
Again, mate, I think experience is going to count, and it's Martin or the right. I mean, it's going to be tight. No, I mean, it could be a 3-way helicopter Sunday.
That's true.
I don't know where the guy's going to sit right enough, you know what I mean? But I think it's a great advert for the game, guys, and a World Cup year as well. I mean, we're playing right to the last knockings, if we could call it that.
Yeah.
I mean, nothing's decided early doors, and I think experience will come through. Martin will get it right, and so again, obviously the other two teams, they need to keep matching the next result, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Stevie, great call. Thank you so much.
Thanks,
and actually,
Stevie.
Scotland will be playing ahead of the World Cup. There's going to be a game down at the Everton Stadium. That came out today against the Ivory Coast. That's in March. And we know we've got Japan coming to Glasgow, to Hampden Park during that break as well. Countdown's on. Less than 5 months. 4 months, 3 weeks, 5 days or thereabouts or less to the World Cup 2026.
See, on that, Paul, we're all excited for the World Cup coming. Why are we playing a game in Liverpool? Why are we?
I don't know. It was mentioned a while ago. That's a good point. We'll check and find out. I should know.
But everybody's excited that the national team are in the... Again, maybe it's been arranged and I'm just being picky, but we're all excited for the World Cup, and then we're playing one of our... I know there'll be friendlies after it.
I'll tell you why. It's an away fixture. That's why.
That's why then.
That's it. Thank
Why are
you,
Ivory
James.
Coast playing in Liverpool?
Yeah, exactly. We'll find out after this. There's more. 0808 17 17 700 after the news.
The Go Radio Football Show with Burger King. Watch live at 5 p.m. weekdays on YouTube. Join the conversation on 0808 17 17 700. Talking Scottish football first.
We sure are. Loads of your calls coming in. Thank you so much for making the switch and listening into the programme on the Go Radio Football Show with Burger King, and also on YouTube, where more and more of you are seeing Darren and James and myself here in the brand new studio. Headlines tonight. Well, in the last half hour, we've told you that the SFA have said no to Celtic's appeal on the Austin Trusty red card at the weekend. It was a huge talking point. Somebody's on asking, this is Davey saying, are Celtic missing someone with steel and bite in the midfield? I'll come to that in a moment or two. And someone else, Derek, a Rangers fan, saying there should be a testimonial for James Tavernier, which was spoken about a couple of years ago, but didn't ever happen. So, 0808 17 17 700. First of all, Celtic, James, what do you think? Are they missing someone with steel and bite in the midfield?
Yeah, I think so. And it's easy to say it now when things aren't going their way, the way it has been. But like, when you see that game on Sunday, we all know who it'd have been a perfect fit for. That wasn't there too long ago. Scott Brown. That was his type of game, and I think you're always going to miss a player like that, and especially for games like that. So no, I can see the point in that.
Callum McGregor is obviously in the midfield. He is a massive influence in the Celtic team. But do you think that Callum could do with someone else, maybe that bit further forward, Darren, who would provide? I know he's a very different player from what Scott Brown was. But what would you say to Davy? Do you think Celtic are missing?
I think it all comes down to the way Celtic are performing just now. I think there was a stat at half-time that Celtic were on course, this against Hearts, for their lowest ever pass completion. So, and you could see it with your own eyes against Hearts, that the ball, Celtic weren't playing through the pitch anywhere near the way they normally do. And when you do that, you've got an absolute conductor in Callum McGregor, and it brings out the best of him. What Celtic found themselves in the game doing was getting into Hearts' battle, which Hearts are very good at. It's the way they want to play. That doesn't suit Celtic. So, I mean, it really does depend on what way Celtic want to approach the rest of the season. I think for the last number of years, I've watched Celtic control games where the lack of physicality in the team doesn't become apparent because they're in such control. If you're going to start putting the ball forward the way they were, as quickly as they were, and you're fighting off second balls, yes, they do lack a bit of physicality. So it really just comes down to what way they're going to approach it for the rest of the season.
Here's the Celtic fan on the line. Michael is on in Liverpool. Hi, Michael. Good evening.
Good evening, Paul. Good evening, Darren. Good evening,
Good
team.
evening.
Hi, Michael.
Good to hear you, Michael. How you doing?
I'm not too bad. I'm getting a bit stressed about the situation, to be honest with you. Aye. I've always said that Celtic lack that grit. I don't think Engels has been up to it. He's not up to it, I don't think, But that Felix Meyer, obviously the Bodo Glimt striker, he's brilliant, by the way.
You would take him in a heartbeat.
About the and that guy, that winger from Crystal Palace.
Oh yeah,
I would have liked to have seen him coming, but
has he gone somewhere? No, it's not been mentioned for 4 or 5 days. I wonder if that could happen. Raksaki, he was mentioned a few times.
Yeah, still there.
There's some things are going to happen, Michael. We just don't know what yet. Who else would you like to see, or where to strengthen?
I'd like to see that guy from Frankfurt. Is that Amendi?
The centre back.
Aye, centre back, Darren. Aye. So, because I still think the defence is dodgy, you know what I mean? But when Cameron Carter-Vickers, he was a good player.
Yeah.
But I think when he comes back, I think he'll be maybe too slow. Or Alistair Johnson, we miss him a lot as well, I think. But I still think we need a right back. But like you were saying earlier, Darren, a lot of us Celtic supporters will want guys in multiple positions because I still think the team are weak. And like Mark said last night, Celtic want to win the league with this team, and he's 100% right, So, but I just can't believe that they're not really backing Martin O'Neill, the board.
Well, they still get 6 days. And Michael, I know they're pushing you, but there's still 6 days. Surely there's another 2 or 3 players to come. We don't know. But
I'm not that confident, Paul.
Honestly,
to be honest with you, my pal.
What I would say, Michael, is first of all the areas, and that's why I made the comment of there's multiple areas fans would want to see, and I totally understand that. I think when you're talking about Carter-Vickers, I think I read it'll be next season before you see him. Yeah. So that potentially is a position Celtic will look at. I just think Celtic right now can't look any further than the next couple of months. It has to be people that can come in, hit the ground running, and ultimately try win a league. And yeah, I totally, again, get the anxiety around not having signings through the door just now. I just think you can't judge a window until it's closed, albeit that's not exactly what you want to hear just now. But I mean, Celtic as a club are under enormous pressure to find those, because Martin O'Neill has been totally open and transparent, and he wants and needs more bodies in if they're going to do the job he wants or they want them to do.
Well, he was asked on Sunday, are there 3 or 4 players coming in?
I don't know about your numbers, but we would need some people in. Yeah.
Need some people in. He was asked also about the 3-way title race.
We had 1 minute to 3. We had a tough time, and we still have a tough time. It's another game gone past, but we're still in it.
And the game itself?
I was delighted with the effort of the team, particularly towards the end when we're down to 10 men again. But Yeah, it was a tough old match. I expected it to be, and that's exactly what it was.
And Danny Röhl was saying about Rangers, the player hunt going on. He wants some more players to come in and closing the gap at the top of the table.
Yeah, it feels great, but hopefully the feeling will better and better during the second half of the season, because this is still a long way to go. We know this. I know as a Rangers the demanding is high to get a lot of wins, but for me it's also 8 wins in a row is a statement, especially from which point we are. And if we can continue this and we do our homework and we go again, then it's on.
Who would you fear more, Michael? Rangers or Hearts at the moment? If you fear either, but who would you be more worried about? What's your gut telling you?
I think with Rangers, every time I'm hearing every day, Paul, I'm going. They'll sign this guy, sign this guy, sign this guy. But I was watching them on the sports screen highlights on Sunday night, Paul, and I think Rangers are going to. I think they'll get stronger. I think, to be perfectly honest with you, even though they're saying about Hearts playing that team, this team, and that team. I just think that Danny Röhl's got them on a roll now.
Yep.
And they're going to put their business quietly, Paul, do you know what I mean? But what frustrates me is you hear the same saying, like sentences getting, we're monitoring, we're interested, and every time that comes out, it's like they're doing it a wrong way of business. They should just keep quiet and just go on inquire about that player, this player, that player, and then do their business and just pay the money. Do you know what I mean? But there's been so many guys linked to Celtic, Paul.
Well, there have
Darren
been
and James.
too many. I know we're only on for another 40 minutes or so. Michael, thanks. There's loads of Celtic fans. Appreciate your call. And Martin Hill, what's he to say? I think he's not saying too much, and that's the right thing. He's saying, there's been some players coming in. He's only been in the building 3 weeks. 3 weeks exactly. Okay, thank you for that. Laurie is on the line, another long-time Celtic fan. Good evening, Laurie.
Good evening, Paul. Good evening, panel.
Evening, Laurie.
Paul, I'll tell you my point this evening.
Yeah.
I know that there's speculation regarding the guy, Kasper Høgh from Bodo Glimt.
Yes.
I've got my doubts about that, and I'll tell you why. Not because I wouldn't like him to be signed by us. Of course I would. You look at his stats, his numbers are very impressive in terms of goals, assists, etc. The problem I have is that in terms of the players' personal ambitions and aspirations, now, this isn't a livestock auction where you can sell cattle or sheep or geese at a market and they've no say as to where they're going. This guy will have a say. It'll be up to him whether he wants to make the move to Celtic, if indeed they make a bid. My reservations about the move are as follows. And I'm going to play devil's advocate here, Paul. Okay. Why would this guy, who's currently playing for a Champions League side, he's enhanced his reputation by scoring twice against Manchester City. He plays in Scandinavia. Why would this guy, if he has any personal ambitions and aspirations, voluntarily choose to move to a side, Celtic? And I'm not being disrespectful, I'm just dealing with the stats here. He wanted to make a move to Celtic, a team which is ranked 20 places below in UEFA rankings, his own team, Bodo Glimt. I would think, I hope we sign him. Obviously, I do. I'd be absolutely delighted if we get his pen, he's get his name on paper, if he pens any contract. But realistically, I have got to question, if this guy has got any ambition, why would he contemplate a move to Celtic from Bodo Glimt?
All right.
A team which has played better in the last few seasons what Celtic has. The panel's thoughts.
Yeah, Laurie, I think you've given an insight into the challenges Celtic will have. And if you use the words, if I'm to speak as devil's advocate, if you get one of these high prospect players or one of these top players, they're going to want to know who the manager is beyond this season. They're not going to want to know what the next 4 or 5 months look like. It might be the next 2-3 years look like. So I totally agree. It goes two ways. I think there's a perception, and I listened. I'm certainly not going to. I don't know the ins and outs, so I'm not going to get involved in what the actual fact is. But there's a perception Celtic aren't spending money. The reality is, I would say, is it's very hard to convince players to come when you're not guaranteed European football. You're sitting third in the league, and you don't have a manager that's going to be there beyond the season. So I totally agree with you. I think that's going to be a real issue for Celtic. Hence why I think you're going to see Celtic linked with a lot of loan players, because I don't see them signing a real top player that doesn't know what the club will look like beyond this season.
But you think, Darren, they might shell out some big money on a loan player?
I just can't see. I think every Celtic fan would hope this is the case. I don't think Celtic won't bring people in because of money. I don't think right now, where they're at, they know they need to supplement that squad with good players. And I think rather than trying to go and sign a player for X amount of million, and that player I don't even know would come, go to the loan market and pay over the odds for someone in terms of the wages, but it's only for 4 or 5 months.
James, what would you think of all this? What would you say to Laurie?
Well, just with the Kasper Høgh one, he's scored 2 goals against Manchester City. He's playing European football, but at 25 years old, he's not had a cap for the Danish international squad. Now, I'm not having a go at him as a player. At Bodo Glimt, you're playing in front of under 9,000 fans. That's our capacity. You then sell a Celtic to a player like this, or 60,000 fans. You've got the opportunity to win a league, an opportunity to get yourself into the international setup as well.
The balmy weather of Glasgow compared to up near the Arctic.
It'll suit him to a T. No, but
it's a great point Laurie makes, though. He's in the Champions Leage.
No, I know. He is in the Champions League, but at 25 years old, he's got to look at his career as well and see, why am I not playing in front of massive stadiums? If I'm this, we get a taste for it when we go into the Champions League, but I think we're talking Celtic and Rangers down when we say this. Yeah, they're not in the Champions League. It's been disappointing the last couple of years. I get that, but you still can't hide just how big these two. I know Hearts at the minute are leading the title race, but just how big Celtic and Rangers are.
Yeah, no, it's absolutely a valid point. But we're assuming the choice is Celtic or Bodo Glimt. There's probably
other teams. Yeah, no, spot on. Yeah,
it's hard to tell. I agree.
Laurie, I see the Celtic fan collective are once again calling for the resignation of the chief exec, Michael Nicholson, saying they can't go into the summer window with Michael in charge. You're always measured. What do you feel about it just now? Because, I mean, all issues come from the top, and at the very top is I would imagine it's Dermot Desmond who's the controlling mind at Celtic. But what do you feel? What would you say to your fellow Celtic fans about the way forward? And also the great point both made there about what's going to happen? What's the succession planning in that manager's chair, the most important in the football club? What are they going to do?
I think there seems to be widespread disenchantment, Paul, regarding Michael Nicholson. With the appointment, I think, of the departed Wilfred Nancy, Tisdale, etc., he was at the helm. He allowed that to happen under his watch. Clearly, there hasn't been a great deal of money spent in the transfer market. We're 28 days into the market, but as I alluded to moments ago, the point I was making about Kasper Høgh, in fairness to Celtic and to whoever the money men are behind the scenes, we do face a catch-22 situation. My biggest concern just now is, apart from getting people in, because I think, frankly, we've got 6 days to save our season. At the beginning of the season, Paul, as you know, I confidently predicted that Celtic would romp the title. Martin O'Neill has done his level best to get this team back together again, firing on all cylinders. Nancy lost 12 points. We can't go over all ground. I get that. We've got to move forward. The other thing I would say, as you know, I've always spoken highly of the Green Brigade. They are Celtic's 12th man. And I think that we need a vocal support to get behind our team. I am a season ticket holder, as you well know, Paul.
Yep.
When the Green Brigade are not on our ground, Celtic Park resembles a cemetery with lights.
Oof. It's a huge problem, isn't it, for your football club, Laurie? It's not just down to any one person. And when you say, look, Michael Nicholson is getting it at the moment. He's the chief executive, and I get that. But Dermot Desmond is the person I think, isn't it? What do you think Laurie's in charge? It was obvious when Brendan Rodgers went, within 20 minutes, statement from Dermot.
I think that Dermot Desmond obviously is a pater familias, Paul. But
Father
I think
of the family.
I think he sits back and he's inclined to let these guys do his bidding. But you're right. When crunch decisions have got to be made, Dermot turns up. So my priorities are get the team strengthened, give Martin all the tools necessary at his disposal to win the league. We've got 6 days. I don't want to sound dramatic, but honestly, I tell you, I think we've got 6 days to save our season, because if we don't get other bodies in, this present side is incapable or unlikely to finish the year as champions.
Wow.
That's my point.
Yep. Yeah, I obviously know a lot of people in the club naturally, but I genuinely have no inside knowledge on this. I just look at it logically, Laurie, and I think Celtic admittedly had a poor summer window. Since then, you've lost your head of football operations in Paul Tisdale. They've lost their chief scout in Jay Lefebvre. And I say left, they've either been left or sacked, whatever, different circumstances. Brendan Rodgers will have been a major, you think of Kasper Schmeichel, Iheanacho, these players, they're ex-Brendan Rodgers players. And then you've John Kennedy also, who was at the club for an inordinate amount of time and knows what it takes and would have been involved in these conversations. And then the very last person that's still in the building that would have been getting involved in these conversations is Sean Maloney. And now he's essentially in charge of the first team. So albeit he will have his say still on signings, it's a very, very different in terms of his time management, if you like. So I just look at Celtic now and I feel for Michael in terms of the amount of stick he gets, albeit when you're at the forefront of a massive club, naturally the animosity is going to be directed to the top and everyone gets that. But the reality is the infrastructure behind him or beneath him, I don't think is functioning, because I've just named 4 people there who would have been massive parts of it aren't in the club.
But isn't it good news that Paul Tisdale has gone? Because...
Well, you say that's good news. He hasn't been replaced. So there obviously is there's a lot of work that goes into that role. Now, whether that role has been done well or not is up for debate. What I'm saying is it hasn't been replaced. They've lost their chief scout. That hasn't been replaced. And then they've lost one of the most experienced managers that worked in the Premier League that would be able to bring someone out of nothing in terms of Kasper Schmeichel and Iheanacho. There's 2 examples. These guys aren't there.
These are crucial points, James. There's a huge vacuum at the heart of the football department.
Why has it been allowed to get like that? What are Celtic doing, or what are they not doing?
You would have to assume longer term, and when I say longer term, the end of the season, these things will be put right, because these have all happened mid-season. Celtic are not notorious for letting people go in the middle of the season. They're very rare. I can think of a Celtic management team at any level getting it changed. They felt they had to change for whatever reason. This will get resolved. But right now in this window, I just don't see who's going to be doing the... And bear in mind, they've changed managers 3 times.
Yeah.
No, and I understand all that, but I'm with Laurie on this, that the next 5 days, 6 days for Celtic, and it's Laurie's opinion, it's my opinion, that if they don't recruit, if they don't get players in, and Mark's been vocal about it for the last month, if Celtic go into the last 15 games of this season, and before it was just against Hearts, we were looking at Celtic Hearts for the title. Now Rangers, who are strong, who have recruited really well, if they're now in this, or they're above Celtic, and it's a three-way tie, what we're all saying. But if Celtic don't recruit, and I get all the stuff behind the scenes and what's went wrong, but if they don't recruit and don't bring players in, then I'm with Mark and with Laurie on it. They don't win this league.
So, Laurie, what do you do for the Utrecht game? Are you up for it? Or what do you feel that you should put all your energies, the team? Because Martin O'Neill was asked after the 2-2 draw, are you virtually running in fumes?
Yeah, it is a concern. Yeah, they've... we played 60 minutes or something like that there on Thursday evening with 10 men, and we've played, well, not as long obviously today, but an important time psychologically as much as physically. But they've shown great resolve, I must admit, really terrific resolve.
Thursday night, what would you do, Laurie?
Well, I'll just briefly recount for you, Paul. Two incidents happened a number of years ago. Rangers got to the final of the UEFA Cup against Zenit St. Petersburg.
Yeah.
Celtic, of course, played Porto and Seville. The common denominator in both instances were that due to fixture congestion, it could be argued that with their European commitments having to play twice in a week, both Celtic and Rangers lost their respective leagues. I'd like to see Celtic beat Utrecht. Obviously, I'd like to see Celtic go as far as they can in Europe. I'm really satisfied about what we can achieve domestically. In the short term, I would have to say, beyond any shadow of a doubt, and I can't speak for other Celtic supporters, but just speaking personally, winning the league, retaining the title is more important to me than Celtic getting into the playoff game of the Europa League.
Laurie, thanks so much for your call. We're back after this.
The Go Radio Football Show with Burger King.
Lots of calls coming in. Celtic fans, a couple of Rangers fans on as well tonight because there's European football. Rangers fly out to Portugal, to Porto, where the weather, I hope, will be better than it is. Joe was saying in Tenerife, beautiful, 22 degrees, sunny. Well, it's not sunny now because dusk has fallen, but Rangers off to Portugal. 8 games there. What a run they are on. Celtic getting ready for the match with Utrecht. And a win for Celtic means they are through to the latter stages of the Europa League. Thanks for this, James. Yes, service is suspended. This is ScotRail between Glasgow Central and Mount Florida due to an emergency incident. Thank you. Well picked up by our executive. He's right across everything, isn't he, James? You know,
he's
for sure.
He's spot on that, man.
Yeah. I thought Darren was kind of smiling earlier on. Obviously, a Celtic great, but also Man United was your club, wasn't it?
Yeah. It was just years ago. I in my family home didn't have Sky, so one of my uncles had Sky. And yeah, he supported Man United, so I used to go around. It would have been, I can picture myself in '96. Newcastle were trying to win the league.
That's right.
The Premier League, yeah. And so my uncle used me basically to go places. So we went to Old Trafford a couple of times. So yeah.
Did you go to that game?
No. I watched on TV on Sky.
That was the one at St James's Park, wasn't it?
I think I went to Old Trafford once to watch them. I can't remember, but I went to Sellers Park when I'm sure it was Wimbledon.
Right.
Shared the ground with maybe Crystal Palace or QPR, Loftus Road maybe.
I was at that game in Newcastle when Man United
won.
Yeah.
Oh, what a game! What a game. Was that the one Cantona?
It was Cantona.
Amazing.
I was actually there with Jim White.
Right?
Yeah, he and I were there at that game. Great day. And you were aged what? 12?
I would have been 9 years old.
9.
Running about with your Cantona strap on and your collar up.
My point was, what a weekend for Man United. Michael Carrick, who had been mentioned as a potential future manager of Celtic, but Michael Carrick, what a start.
Yeah, it's incredible. It just shows you kind of the change in just feeling, because there can't have been loads of work done, but fair play to him. 2 massive games he's come into and won the boat.
And Philippe Clement, what a win for him last night. Norwich City beating the league leaders Coventry City 2-1.
Yeah, and Coventry have been flying, and Frank Lampard's got them going really well. And like Clement's went down there and he seems to be doing okay. That's a great win for them.
You're pleased to see him. He had such a tough time, didn't he? Started so well, came close a couple of seasons ago, fell away just at the crucial point.
Yeah, the timing going in at Norwich actually a strange team. They've got really, really good players. They just got into a run where they couldn't seem to get off, and Philippe Clement has gone in there. And listen, I still think they're down in and around the relegation playoffs, but their form will see them well get out of that.
Lots of calls coming in about the Celtic losing out on that appeal, and we'll see what Celtic are saying about it as well. All the Celtic fans are saying, tell us about some signings, but there's no word yet this evening. It was to be expected, wasn't it, James, that would be thrown out. Given that it went to VAR, they must have seen something. John Beaton felt, well, there must be something. They call over Stephen McLean. He looked for quite a fair bit of time, wasn't it? And then... Yeah,
and that was kind of giving me hope that he was going to stick by his decision. And again, that's not from a Celtic or Rangers or Hearts point of view, but when you see the referee give the decision, and you know, after a replay, it's different in first look, but you know that there's enough there that his decision was okay, but then he changes it. And what, Paul, I think what must be, these appeals are hard to win because they've got rules and regulations, and they'll always try and find, I'm not saying that they cheat to try and find a way, I'm not saying anything, but if there's anything in it at all that looks like it can break the rules, then the appeals are very tough. I had a few of them when I was managing, and they are hard to win. But what it doesn't do, in my opinion on it, it doesn't take away that it doesn't mean it was definitely a red card. I still think we're sitting here with the same opinion that either way, if it went yellow or red, and Stephen McLean was, I don't want to say allowed, but if he wasn't, if the interference hadn't came for VAR, and I know they've got to look at it, they've got to look at everything, but if it was just left to the yellow or the red, I think we could have accepted it a bit better. The appeal doesn't change that. I'm still of that opinion that even with them coming out, we all knew Celtic were going to lose that appeal. I think it would have been it'd have been mad if they would have won it, but it's frustrating, like it was at the start of the show, and the news keeps coming out and we'll keep talking about it, but no, it's what we thought was going to happen.
What we do have is a title race. Hearts on top after 23, 51 points. Rangers on 47. Celtic on 45. And let's not forget Motherwell on 40 points. Hibs on 35. Falkirk on 33. What a performance for Falkirk. And of course Celtic play them this weekend. Rangers playing Hibs. You know both clubs well. James, your old club Hibs, who they've got a really good squad. They've had some amazing results and some really poor ones, not least at the weekend. And that's not taken away from the hat-trick for Barney Stewart, 4-1 Falkirk. But what about Hibs? Thomas is asking from San Francisco, saying, what's happening?
It's a frustrating time. I'm sure it will be for David Gray as well. I think just looking historically back over his time, like as a manager at Hibs, he came in, he had a really tough start, and he openly said he believes he was 30 seconds from losing his job, and they equalised against Aberdeen that night. It was Bashiri, I think, that scored the goal. And then he goes on the fantastic run, and then he starts this season okay. They had a decent start in Europe. I know they went out, but they equipped themselves well. But their league form's just been up and down, inconsistent, and the big... Falkirk can beat any team. They arguably should have beat Celtic the week before as well. But the week before, the frustrating one that I'm sure for the Hibs fans will be the Scottish Cup. I done the game, the Dunfermline game, and they were nowhere near it.
Why? I mean, it's the Cup. And they weren't doing brilliantly in the league, but they were still in there, with their top six.
Yeah.
But
and see on it, but I was surprised when I seen their team that day. Like they had
too many changes.
Yeah, in my opinion, and look, I've got a lot of time for David Gray, but when you're a Hibs player or a Hibs manager, the Scottish Cup is the holy grail. Like, now if they go and have a season the way Hearts have and they get to the top, that would maybe change your opinion. But that cup, and David should know that because we've seen how much it meant. He scored the header when they won it in 2016. So to make those changes, I don't think it was a disrespect thing, because he knew coming to East End Park, the place was rammed, that it would have been a tough game. But when you're leaving and his argument will be he brought international players in. But when you're leaving Grant Hanley out, and you know you're going to be facing a pretty direct Dunfermline team that play good attacking football, you need your best players on the pitch. And that day for me, they didn't do that. And then you go to Falkirk the following week and you lose the game as well. So it's those wee runs that you need to avoid. And I'm sure they're working really hard. Like he's had a great time as a young manager, and I've got a lot of respect for him. But those results will hurt him.
Darren,
on the flip side of that. Falkirk are my favourite team to watch.
Are they?
Other than Celtic, obviously. But I think if you're looking there, John McGlynn, you'd have him near as manager of the year so far. Obviously, Derek McInnes, how the league finishes, maybe depend. The Motherwell manager's done fantastic well, but I think the job John McGlynn has done at Falkirk is just absolutely outstanding. And it's because they're doing it in a way of they're brilliant to watch, absolutely brilliant to watch. So I think on David Gray and Hibs, I don't know, maybe a bit cynical now, just when you go into coaching and management, I don't know what he can do more. I think completely agree with James in the cup. The cup is the big killer, but he's done well enough last year to get into Europe. They had a right go in Europe. I know they're fifth and their form's been up and down, but they're still right there. They're in touching distance of Motherwell. They should clearly be in the top six come the end of the season. It's a tough job, but that shows you the pressures of management.
Rangers in town for them this weekend, and did they raise their game for that? Because it's two giants of Scottish football, James.
It's a brilliant game. When Rangers go to Easter Road, like the two teams don't like each other a lot. We know that, and obviously that we spoke about the 2016 Cup final. There's still a lot of hurt from that and anger from that and joy from that for the Hibs fans. So no, but Rangers are coming, trying to go nine games, see what happens in Thursday night as well. But Rangers are flying and they're coming in chasing down Hearts. So no, I think it's a tough game for Hibs, but it's a good one for them. I know it sounds daft at times, but it's no someone, and no disrespect, but it's not a Livingston or a St Mirren coming as well, where you're going to need to get yourself going, and the crowd are going to turn after a minute if you pass the ball back. So that's a good game for Hibs, but that could be a cracker. I'm looking forward to that one on Sunday.
Tomáš, we feel your pain over there in San Francisco. Although I'm not sure how the weather maybe not that great at the moment in San Francisco. I'm a wee bit obsessed with the weather. I don't know why today. For Falkirk, it's phenomenal, isn't it, to go from the third tier to the second tier to the top with the nucleus of the team are there.
And it's the style he's doing it in. They are fantastic to watch. They've got players that some of them are younger players. He's brought in people like Calvin Miller, who's, I don't want to say lost his way a little bit, but obviously left Celtic, came on loan to Dundee actually for a period.
Played well at the weekend, didn't
he? He's been fantastic throughout the season and last season, and they've just got a number of players, Spencer, in the middle of the pitch. They brought a boy up from Swansea actually that worked with in the pre-season. Philip Lissa playing at right back. He's performed well. John McGlynn just seems to get the best out of players, and then the fact that he's bringing them in unison and playing, and as a team they're playing so well. He's done some job.
You mentioned Grant Hanley, who's been amazing for Scotland, obviously Norwich and now at Hibs, but my goodness, he was showing a clean pair of heels at the weekend. Don't know if you saw the highlights of the game, but
yeah, he was, and Hibs couldn't get near him. I couldn't get near Falkirk all afternoon. It was a really good performance, but again, going into this title race, and I know we keep going back to that, but they're going to cause all three teams huge problems. They put Hearts out the cup last week as well, after running Celtic close to midweek before. So them and Motherwell, in my opinion, are going to be big problems for Hearts, Rangers and Celtic. But just on John McGlynn, he has brought them up, and I could probably I'll have analyses from the League One season where they were in our league, and a lot of the nucleus of that squad would have played.
So you're in charge at
Dunfermline, Yep. But he's brought players in. Keelan Adams is another one. He signed from Cumbernauld
coach one, right back.
Brought him in, and then Barney Stewart, you spoke about him earlier, Paul.
University football.
But Heriot Watt Uni. But what John's done, and I think he plays the right way, but he can upset you with mixing it up now. I think the difference from him with his Wraith Rovers team, you could set up to play against them, and I found probably my last season at Dunfermline in the Championship, you always thought you could analyse them, you could set up, you could press them, and then all of a sudden they had a Ross McIver, a Barney Stewart, and it doesn't change. It doesn't all of a sudden become direct, but he'll get the ball into them quicker. Then you've just got runners everywhere. They work so hard on their patterns they play, the way they want to do it, and they all trust him. They all trust John McGlynn and what a job he's done and what a job his players have done.
Speak about Aberdeen in a minute, and Livingston and Aberdeen on the context of who's going to be the next manager, and Peter Leven, is he putting down a claim after a huge win at the weekend. But we mentioned Derek was on with a question about James Tavernier. Will he get a testimonial? Here's the manager, not speaking about him at this point, he's talking about his demands that he puts on his players. This is Danny Röhl.
Yeah, I always demand. I think even in the second half, I'm a guy who will be on front foot. I think I want to see that we push our limits. If you come on, you have to deliver. You have to run for the team. I think this is the big message. You have to work at first for the team, not for your own. And if you do this, then we always have a chance to win games. And I think at the moment, phenomenal for my team. 8 wins, a lot of clean sheets. It's for me a big statement as well.
But the 90 minutes had come and gone, and Rangers were still just one up. And, Dundee had chances. He was asked about maybe some of the decisions in front of goal.
Yeah, it's about decision making. We speak it a lot about this at the moment. The final pass, then finish the action, you come behind the ball. Or when we go play forward, then we have to push up from the last line as well. The distance was then too big in some moments, and this is then why we allowed them these transition moments. This is what we have to improve, but it's always good when you win games and you have still things to improve.
Go Radio Football Show, we're back in a moment.
The Go Radio Football Show with Burger King.
So, American Consortium has completed a shock deal to buy a Scottish football club. Kelty Hearts. You came up against them many times, James. So, and it's a former American consortium shareholder who was at Swansea City, Jordan Gardner. So they're in there. More and more American interest in Scottish football.
Yeah, and when you look at their neighbours, or Dunfermline, who they're playing in the Scottish Cup, the boy's based in him. He's English, but he's lived out in Vegas. So there's obviously a market out there, or an interest that they want to come into the Scottish game. And no, it's great. You just hope it works well. The more teams that are funded well or have got better budgets, etc., then the better for our game, no matter what league it's in. So it's an exciting time for the Kelty fans.
It sure is. Maswanhise, we haven't mentioned yet. He scored again at the weekend, 16 goals, top scorer in Scotland. Still, there's rumblings that Rangers might want him, Celtic might want him. We haven't heard anything. We can't confirm or deny, but would you be surprised if either of them came in the next 6 days?
Well, I was at the Motherwell game Martin O'Neill was at. And he did say, in fairness to Martin, he'd said he was just out watching a good game of football. Listen, you'd be amazed if he isn't high on both clubs' lists. Why wouldn't he be? He's a proven goal scorer at the level, and obviously at the age he's at. I think a lot of it will come down to Motherwell won't have to sell, so they'll be in a very strong negotiating position. It's, do you want to pay the premium? What that premium is, I don't know, but I could imagine it'd be very, very high.
And of course, Rangers looking to sign Ryan Naderi, £2.5 million from a German side. So, and for Celtic, Kasper Høgh, of course, his name is being mentioned for the Bodo Glimt front man. That's a big if, but you never know. Could it be on loan? Well, we just don't know. We'll find out. Shin Yamada, he's left Celtic. He's moved to a German outfit, Prusen Münster, on loan till the end of the season. Probably good for Shin. You worked with him?
No, he came in the summer. You
just missed him.
Himself and Inamura came in, and both have obviously moved on in terms of loans. Never really got too much opportunity. I feel sorry for both of them. They've come in, and I just think the plan for them to come in, I think the plan for Inamura originally was to come in and go out and loan after a few weeks. That didn't materialise, and the last thing you want to do is see people coming in and then kind of sitting and not even involved in the squad. So I think it's the best for all parties he moves on.
Sure is. Celtic have got Utrecht coming to town, and Porto is where Rangers are off to, James. I wonder what he's going to do in this game in terms of, look, it's the end of the tournament for Rangers. They're on a roll. What does he do for this game, given that he's got Hibs on Sunday? Does he go for the league, or can you be doing both?
No, I think it's a different conversation to last week when we spoke about it, and we were saying they didn't want to finish as low as they were, and they had the week off in terms, or they hadn't, but they made so. This is different for me. I think it's a bigger challenge. They're away from home. There isn't anything to play for. Different to Celtic last week as well, we had the conversation about before they were got to Tynecastle.
Apart from coefficient points, would that be right? Yeah.
Although I think Rangers, their coefficient's okay, I think, at the minute, if they win the league. But as Scottish football fans, we want them to do well. But if I'm Danny Röhl, and I think he'll be of this point of view, that he's got to be very careful going out there, in my opinion, on Thursday night. Again, and there are two sides to it. You don't want to go out and batter your confidence with being really poor and losing a game heavily, but also he knows he's going to Easter Road. He knows that they're flying in the league and motoring along. So the ones you might see as the new signings, it'd be interesting to see if Skov Olsen gets more minutes again after getting an hour on Sunday.
You're looking forward to seeing the best of him?
Look, I think he's one that could light the league up if he gets going and gets an injury-free run and just gets his cell up to speed he's not played a lot of football, so that's important. So he might be used over the next few weeks where his game time is limited to a degree, but I think when he gets up to speed, he could be excellent.
Darren, Nico Raskin hasn't been mentioned. He was obviously involved in that penalty decision at the weekend. Reports that he might be off. They might get money for him. I haven't heard anything the last couple of days. But Nico Raskin, you rate him?
Yeah, he's a good player. Yep. You don't play for the Belgian national team unless you're a good player. I think it'll be more if I was Nico Raskin, I'd be worried about who I go to if that was the case, if he was moving, because he needs to protect his place in the Belgian squad. So sometimes moving at that stage, any move is a difficult one to kind of adapt to regardless of where you go. So I think that will come into his thinking as well.
Yeah, look, it's a huge tournament. Belgium, although they're not the side we thought they were a few years ago, but they'll still go with high in confidence internally and expect to go out and do well in that World Cup. So for Raskin to be excited about that, and he knows he's going to play at Rangers, like, unless he picks up injuries. Like, he's a mainstay now. Like, he got left out for a while, and we heard everything about that. But he's too good a player not to be playing at Rangers, and you can see why teams are interested in him, Paul. Like, he's a very good player, but again, you're just hoping that with the World Cup coming with a chance to go and win a league, that's enough to keep him in Scottish football. And you also know that Rangers will do as much as they can to keep him as well, or you'd expect that.
Darren's on, a Rangers fan, saying, is that the last we'll see of Danilo? Got a goal right at the end. He said, I liked him, just didn't see enough because of injuries. There's a £2 million offer from Paphos in Cyprus, and you'd imagine he would probably take it if they can agree personal terms.
Yeah, I think that's one that Rangers would look to do, one that makes sense. It gets some of his wages off the wage bill and get, like, he's been too inconsistent. He can do great things, or do brilliant things in a game and score good goals, create good opportunities, but far too inconsistent to rely on him.
Darren, what about Aberdeen and Peter Leaving? Could you see him? Well, we don't know if he's going to get the job, but 6-2 win against Livingston. That's what they weren't able to do recently, is to get never mind many goals.
Well, yeah, first things first, when I think he's been unequivocally clear that he wants to become the next manager. I think by the way he speaks, he's ready. He knows that squad and that club inside out. I would think, looking at it right now, why would you change? Would you not buy time till the end of the season? Let Peter be the manager until the end of the season. Whether Peter would accept that or not, I don't know. And then ultimately you'll have your answer on whether Peter Leaving is the guy to leave you forward or you need a change. But I just think when you've got someone that's clearly got the substance of getting results, Aberdeen are not really in any sort of precarious position. I would say give it to Peter, a new manager, a bit of freshness, and clearly the players have reacted to him.
He's getting something out of them that recently Jimmy Tilleen just couldn't get. I know he got the cup win, and he'll always be there in the record books. What do you think? Peter Leaving, is the fact that he's Scottish a help, a hindrance, or irrelevant?
I think with his career to date, irrelevant. I don't think in terms of, it's not going to be a hindrance to him. I done my pro licence with Peter. He went out. Wasn't he Russia? Where did he go to?
But you did the pro licence,
and then he went and was an assistant at a foreign team. It might have been Russia. I would need to check that, but he was excellent even then. He was assistant at Kilmarnock. He's a lot of experience for a younger coach to date anyway. And like, he's went in, he's had 2 wins in his 2 games. He beat Rafe in the Scottish Cup. They've went and beat Livingston. As you say, Paul, and Darren just hit the nail on the head. He knows that squad better than anyone. He's been there, and the key though, it's okay knowing the squad, but he's able to get performances out of them as well. So he's went in after Jimmy Tilleen's left, and he's getting performances out of them. So I agree with Darren, just give him the time, assess that, use it. Too often we're quick to either sack a manager, write a manager off, whatever, but Aberdeen have an opportunity here to see if they have a young Scottish manager on their books.
Dynamo Brest is the team, I've just remembered. Well, the truth is, James has just told me. Thank you, Google. What about Kilmarnock? Jamie's on a big Kilmarnock fan saying, are we going to turn it round starting this weekend against Aberdeen for Neil McCann? What do you think?
Well, yeah, we both, and me in particular, have experienced Neil McCann as a manager. He came in to Dundee with, I think it was after the split, wasn't it? 5 games to go. And he got a real impact, and we obviously stayed up that season. So, I mean, I know, knowing Neil will come in with a bundle of energy, he certainly will get a reaction out of the players. I think the players will enjoy working under him. It's a difficult job, and they obviously at the weekend had a difficult result. I know there was a sending off again. He wasn't happy with, but I've experienced it with Neil. I think he'll get a jump out of the players. It's just whether it's too much and too late.
90 seconds left of the 2 hours. It's, I think, flown in. I'm not sure if the viewers and the listeners are thinking the same. I'm sure you are. Derek McInnes reportedly on the radar of Leicester City. I'm going to throw it to you first because you've just been down in England and Wales.
I do. I think Leicester would be interested in Derek McInnes. Absolutely. Do I think it'll happen? No. Because I think Leicester will go for a manager that isn't in work. I think potentially they have some sort of financial difficulties. So I would envisage someone will go in there and it might be a short one till the end of the season.
Danny's on, a Celtic fan, saying, right, guys, who's going to win the league? What do you think, James? We ask every week. It has been changing. You've got up until the end of the window to give your final decision. But what would you be saying tonight? What did you feel after that, the weekend? Rangers winning, Hearts and Celtic drawing.
Yeah, for the first time, probably I'm now... Rangers are the team I think that are the worry for Hearts and Celtic. What we spoke about the picture. I'm still sticking to the team I said at the start of the season because I don't think it's right to change. But the next time you ask me after this window, I might change it. But I've still got to sit with Celtic at the minute.
Darren, what would you say tonight?
Favourites for the league?
Yeah.
I just we're too far away from the end of it. I think as long as Celtic are in fighting chance, they've my favourites.
I heard what you said on Sky. Did you prefer it here or on Sky? It's okay, I'm only kidding. Darren.
Here. It's brilliant.
Come back then. Thanks so much, James. Likewise.
Thank you.
Thanks so much. We're back here tomorrow night at 5.